Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when the best response is no response at all. Have you ever noticed that the people who truly succeed in life don't waste their energy on unnecessary battles? They don't engage in pointless arguments. They don't try to explain themselves to those who refuse to understand. And they don't chase people who have already walked away. There is an old saying, never argue with a fool, for onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. This is the essence of power, understanding that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on people and situations that do not deserve it. The moment you react emotionally to negativity, you hand over your power. You allow someone else to dictate your mood, your thoughts, and even your next move. True power is not in reacting, but in mastering the art of silence. Silence is often mistaken for weakness, but in reality it is one of the strongest responses you can give. When you remain silent in the face of provocation, you do two things. First, you deny the other person the reaction they were hoping to get. And second, you maintain control over your own emotions. This is a rare skill. Most people feel the urge to defend themselves, to explain, to fight back. But what if fighting back is exactly what they want? What if the moment you react, you step into their trap? Imagine a person trying to provoke you with insults, accusations, or manipulations. If you respond with anger or frustration, they have won. They have successfully pulled you into their game, and now you are playing by their rules. But if you choose silence, you leave them powerless. They are left with their words, their actions, and no reaction from you to fuel the fire. This forces them to confront their own behavior, whether they admit it or not. There is another reason why silence is powerful. It creates mystery. People are naturally curious, and when they don't get a reaction from you, they begin to wonder. They question themselves, they replay the situation in their minds, and sometimes they even feel the weight of their own actions. Silence forces people to sit with their own emotions without you having to do anything. It shifts the burden from you to them. Silence is not just about ignoring negativity, it is about discipline. It takes immense self-control to walk away when every part of you wants to respond. But the more you practice it, the stronger you become. You start to realize that not every battle is worth fighting, not every insult deserves a reply, not every argument is worth your time. This is when you elevate yourself above petty conflicts and distractions. Friendships, workplaces, and social settings. The ability to remain silent in key moments is a sign of wisdom. You do not need to explain yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You do not need to convince people of your worth. And you certainly do not need to engage with those who only seek to drain your energy. The more you focus on protecting your peace, the more powerful you become. Power is not in noise. Power is in restraint. Power is in walking away without looking back. Power is in silence. Not everyone deserves a response. This is a truth that many struggle to accept because the natural instinct is to defend, explain, or prove a point. But what if the greatest form of self-respect is knowing when to say nothing at all? Some people engage with you not because they seek understanding, but because they crave attention, drama, or control. Their goal is not resolution, but manipulation. They want to pull you into a cycle of endless reactions, consuming your energy, your peace, and your time. When you recognize this, you begin to see that silence is not avoidance. It is wisdom. There are people who thrive on seeing you upset. They poke, provoke, and push buttons, waiting for you to react. When you do, they win. Why? Because they have dictated your emotions. The moment you allow someone else's words or actions to control how you feel, you have given them power over you. But when you refuse to respond, when you cut them off, without explanation, you starve them of what they seek. You break the cycle. You reclaim control over yourself. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every comment deserves a reply. There is a difference between engaging in meaningful conversations and wasting time on people who have already made up their minds. Some people do not argue for clarity, they argue to create confusion. They do not question you to understand, but to challenge your confidence. They do not seek your opinion, they seek to undermine it. Engaging with such people only drains your energy and shifts your focus from what truly matters. The longer you spend justifying yourself to someone who refuses to listen, the further you drift from your purpose. One of the hardest lessons to learn is that walking away is sometimes the best response. People will call you arrogant, cold, or dismissive, but that is only because they expected access to your energy. They expected to get a reaction, an argument, a debate. When you refuse to give them that, they are left with nothing but their own bitterness. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them create stories. None of it affects you unless you allow it to. This does not mean you should be silent in all situations. It means you must be intentional about where you invest your words. Your energy is precious and your peace is priceless. Do not throw them away on conversations that lead nowhere. If someone is committed to misunderstanding you, let them. If someone disrespects you, remove yourself. If someone constantly brings negativity into your life, detach without a word. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Not everyone deserves a response. True confidence is knowing that your silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. True power is choosing where to engage and where to remain still. Some battles are fought best with words, but the greatest victories are often won with silence. Peace is more valuable than their opinion. The problem many people face is that they put too much weight on what others think, say, or expect. They waste time trying to correct misunderstandings, explain themselves to people who don't really care, and defend choices that need no defense. In doing so, they sacrifice their own peace. But the truth is, no matter how much you explain, no matter how much you try to prove yourself, there will always be someone who disagrees, someone who misjudges you, someone who refuses to see your value. The real question is, why should their opinion matter more than your peace? People will talk, they will criticize, they will question your decisions, your actions, and sometimes even your very existence. But none of that should disturb you unless you allow it to. What others think of you is their business, not yours. When you start prioritizing your peace over their approval, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and emotional exhaustion. The opinions of others will never pay your bills, build your dreams, or bring you happiness. But inner peace, that is priceless. That is what allows you to think clearly, move forward, and live a life that is true to yourself. Many people spend their lives reacting to negativity. A single comment can ruin their entire day. A small misunderstanding can turn into an emotional battle. But imagine if you refused to engage. Imagine if you decided that your inner calm was more important than winning an argument. Silence, walking away, and refusing to entertain negativity are not signs of weakness. They are signs of strength. They show that you have reached a point where external noise does not shake your internal stability. There will always be those who try to provoke you, insult you, or bring you into conflict. But engaging with them only gives them the power to disturb your peace. Some people do not want a resolution, they just want a reaction. The moment you realize that, you take away their influence over your emotions. When you choose to walk away, instead of engaging in unnecessary battles, you are not losing, you are winning in the highest form. You are choosing to protect what truly matters, your peace, your energy, and your mental well-being. When you stop reacting, people notice. They begin to see that their words no longer affect you. Their tactics no longer work. And that in itself is a victory. You do not have to prove anything to anyone. You do not have to justify your decisions or seek validation. The only thing you owe yourself is a life free from unnecessary stress and conflict. So the next time someone tries to disturb your peace with their opinions, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? If the answer is no, walk away. Your peace is far too valuable to be traded for someone else's noise. Silence is the loudest answer. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, where people argue endlessly to prove their point, and where reactions are expected, silence becomes the most powerful response. It confuses, unsettles, and leaves a lasting impact. When someone disrespects you, insults you, or tries to provoke you, they expect a reaction. They want to see anger, frustration, or even pain. But when you give them nothing, no words, no emotions, no engagement, you rob them of their power. You take control of the situation without saying a single word. Most people believe that being loud makes them strong, but true strength is found in restraint. When you argue with someone who is not worth your time, you lower yourself to their level. You give them what they want, attention. But when you remain silent, you leave them with their own words. They are forced to sit with what they have said and done, with no reaction from you to validate their behavior. This silence speaks volumes. It says, I am above this. I refuse to engage. I will not give you control over my emotions. Silence creates an uncomfortable space for those who seek conflict. They do not know what you are thinking. They expect an argument, a debate, or a response, but instead, they are met with stillness. This forces them to question themselves, to wonder whether they were right or wrong, to deal with the consequences of their own actions. Sometimes, silence is the only way to make someone realize their mistake. It is more powerful than words because it removes the fuel that keeps an argument burning. It is important to understand that silence is not weakness. It is not running away or avoiding confrontation. It is a conscious choice to protect your peace and dignity. When you walk away from unnecessary arguments, you are not losing, you are winning by refusing to be dragged into negativity. You are showing that your time, your energy, and your mind are too valuable to waste on things that do not serve you. People remember silence more than they remember words. A sharp comeback may be forgotten, but the absence of a response lingers in the mind. It leaves people wondering what you are thinking, what you know, and why you refuse to engage. This mystery is powerful. It puts you in control without needing to prove anything. Workplaces and daily interactions. The ability to remain silent in moments of conflict is a skill that few master. It takes wisdom to know when to speak and when to let silence do the talking. Not every insult needs a reply. Not every false accusation deserves a defense. And not every battle is worth fighting. So the next time someone tries to pull you into unnecessary drama, remember this. Your silence will say more than your words ever could. Let them wonder, let them overthink, let them deal with the absence of your reaction. Because sometimes the loudest answer is the one you never give. Discipline in detachment is a skill that few possess, but those who master it hold an incredible amount of power. It is the ability to walk away without bitterness, without explanations, and without the need for closure. Most people struggle with detachment because they feel the need to prove a point, to justify their actions, or to make sure the other person understands what they did wrong. But the reality is, detachment is not about them, it's about you. It's about choosing your own well-being over unnecessary emotional entanglements. When you learn to detach without bitterness, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of conflict and emotional dependence. Many people hold on to toxic relationships, unhealthy friendships, and draining situations because they fear the discomfort of letting go. They seek closure, an apology, or validation that may never come. But true strength lies in realizing that you do not need any of these things to move forward. You do not need someone else to acknowledge your pain for you to heal. You do not need to hear the words, "I'm sorry," to find peace. You simply need to decide that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on people and situations that do not serve you. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop allowing situations beyond your control to consume you. It means you recognize that some people will never change, some relationships are not meant to last, and some situations are not worth your time. It is not about being cold or heartless. It is about protecting your peace. The more you practice this, the more you realize that you do not have to engage in every argument, respond to every insult, or explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. One of the hardest but most powerful things you can do is to cut someone off without anger. No emotional outburst, no dramatic goodbye, just silence and distance. When you can do this, you show that you have complete control over yourself. You show that you do not need to prove anything to anyone. The people who try to provoke you, manipulate you, or drain you will expect a reaction. They will expect an argument, a debate, a long-winded explanation. But when you give them nothing, when you detach without hostility, they are left powerless. It takes discipline to detach without resentment. It requires emotional maturity to let go of someone without needing them to feel the pain they caused you. But once you learn this, you become untouchable. No one can disturb your peace because you have trained yourself to walk away without attachment to outcomes. You do not need revenge. You do not need to make sure they understand. You simply remove yourself, and in doing so, you win. The more you practice discipline in detachment, the stronger you become. You realize that you are not obligated to carry people who weigh you down. You do not have to stay in situations that drain your energy. And most importantly, you do not need to explain your decision to anyone. You simply move forward silently and powerfully, knowing that your peace is your priority. Walking away is an art that requires strength, wisdom, and self-respect. It is not about giving up or avoiding confrontation, but about understanding that some situations and people are simply not worth your energy. The ability to walk away without explanation, without anger, and without regret is a sign of emotional intelligence. It means you have reached a level where you no longer seek validation, approval, or closure from others. You have decided that your peace, your mental well-being, and your personal growth matter more than proving a point or changing someone's mind. Many people struggle with walking away because they feel the need to be understood. They want to explain why they are leaving, why they are no longer responding, why they are choosing distance. But in reality, explanations are often unnecessary. The people who truly respect and value you will not need a long justification, and the ones who do not will never accept your reasons, no matter how well you explain them. Walking away is not about making others understand. It is about choosing yourself over situations that no longer serve you. There is power in leaving silently. It forces people to reflect. When you engage in endless discussions, arguments, and explanations, you give others the opportunity to manipulate, guilt trip, or convince you to stay in situations that are harmful to you. But when you simply remove yourself without a word, you leave them with nothing but their own thoughts. They are left to wonder, to question, and sometimes to realize what they lost. Silence has a way of speaking louder than words ever could. It creates a lasting impact, making people reconsider their actions more than any argument ever would. Walking away is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of self-respect. It means you refuse to beg for love, attention, or respect. It means you have learned that not every battle needs to be fought. Not every insult needs a response, and not every relationship needs closure. Some things end not with a conversation, but with distance. Some relationships fade not because of hatred, but because one person decided they deserve better. The strongest people do not stay in situations that drain them. They leave without hesitation, without drama, and without regret. The greatest lesson in life is understanding that peace is more valuable than proving a point. You do not need to convince people of your worth. You do not need to stay where you are not valued. And you do not need to keep explaining yourself to those who refuse to listen. The moment you learn to walk away without looking back, you gain freedom. Freedom from toxicity, from unnecessary stress, and from the burden of constantly seeking approval. So when you feel disrespected, when you feel undervalued, when you know deep inside that a situation is not meant for you, simply walk away. Do not argue, do not explain, do not justify. Just leave. And in that silence, in that quiet departure, you will find the greatest power of all. The power of choosing yourself. Silence is not weakness. Detachment is not avoidance. Walking away is not surrender. These are acts of strength, discipline, and self-respect. In a world where reactions are expected, where arguments are endless, and where people seek to control you through words and emotions, the ability to cut them off silently is a rare and powerful skill. It is the mark of someone who understands their worth, values their peace, and refuses to be pulled into unnecessary battles. Not everyone deserves a response. Not every situation requires your energy. The moment you realize that your peace is more valuable than their opinions, you free yourself from emotional chains. You do not have to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You do not need to fight battles that bring no victory. The loudest response is often the one you never give, and the greatest power lies in knowing when to walk away. Mastering the art of silence, detachment, and quiet departure is the key to emotional freedom. You do not need validation from others to know your worth. You do not need closure to move forward. You simply need the courage to protect your energy, guard your peace, and remove yourself from places that no longer serve you. Let them wonder. Let them assume. Let them deal with the weight of their own actions. Meanwhile, you move forward, stronger, wiser, and untouched by the noise you left behind. Power is not in the argument. Power is in restraint. Power is in silence. Power is in walking away without looking back.